So last month, the ATF sprung yet another revision of the much-loathed 4473 on us, and I have had an opportunity to use this document on multiple occasions, as well as talk to the individuals filling out the form to transfer their items. And I think it's time that I can make a report on it. And what I have to say about these new changes is not so good. I know this will come as a shock to you, but the general response is that this is dumb. See that? See how that's happening? I don't really dig that. So we're going to go ahead and, instead of fiddling around with the camera, we're just going to go ahead and lose the notes for the remainder of the video. But you'll remember that this is the second revision that we've received during this administration, and that is indicative of an executive agency that is struggling to meet the demands of an executive that is struggling to make a decision between pudding and oatmeal. To make it easier for activists within the agency to photograph and then record your sensitive, confidential information into an unconstitutional database, they've rearranged the form in 2020 to include your information on the front page. And what I mean by that is as follows. If you consult the previous revision, the one that's been used as long as I can remember, you will see that the layout is completely different. The identifying information of the firearm or firearms to be transferred was not located on the front page. It was not located on the second page. It was not until you opened the 4473 that comes bound from the ATF, you will see it on page 3. Of course, this conveniently locates that information just above personal identifying information on the same page in a tight space, just the right size to be photographed. So what did they do in this revision? Well, besides adding the frivolous question of do you reside in the city limits or not, and this is presumably so that they can contact and conscript the correct thin blue line local agency so they can castrate you in the event that you irritate the wrong oligarch. I talked to your dogs about this, and they are very concerned about this addition to the 4473 specifically because, you know, when you were a kid and your parents gave you a special task for like the first time and you were excited about it and you want to do it really well, yeah, think about these guys getting a task from Big Brother. But on to the big changes. The questions have been reworked, same answer key though, but now we have evidence that some within the agency clearly have not passed a freshman English class. If we look at questions B and C, which I'll have up on screen, you'll find a nonsensical comma splice. Presumably what they're trying to do here is add ammunition to the statement for the purposes of effecting some kind of entrapment. But anyway, if you continue to read the thing, they go on to list a naughty list that you haven't even gotten to yet in the document. So not only freshman English, but also junior composition. But now on to the section that, in my opinion, you all should be very upset about, and that is the reworking of Section 27 to further infringe on the rights of American citizens under the age of 21. In direct and wanton violation of the Constitution, the 117th Congress passed the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. This bars your dealer from transferring a firearm to anyone under the age of 21 whom the government determines should have their juvenile record more thoroughly investigated. This spells out a 10-day waiting period for anybody who gets caught up by this. But that's not just 10 days, it's 10 business days. So if we take the hypothetical situation of a 20-year-old that wants to purchase a long gun, by the way, remember that a 20-year-old American citizen has already registered with the Selective Services, can be drafted into service into any of the American armed forces, and be put into a situation by your government whereby causing them to die for your freedom. But if they want to buy a firearm on a random Wednesday, assuming no holidays, it's not just 10 days if they take the full time. It's actually a total of 15 days if you count the weekend days, because those are not counted in business days. So they would finally be able to obtain their constitutionally protected Second Amendment right the 16th day after already exchanging their money for a good. But wait, there's more. That 10-day waiting period is already on top of the standard 3-day window for a delayed status. So same week, same parameters, the same 20-year-old that has his or her papers scrutinized for the full original delay period and the additional 10-day actually sits in civil rights purgatory for a total of 20 days, receiving the go-ahead on the 21st day after initial purchase. This is clearly an effort by the powers that be to discourage certain segments of the United States populace from exercising their constitutionally protected God-given and inalienable rights. From the business perspective, as somebody who conducts transfers, I will tell you that this makes me not want to do business with 18 to 20-year-olds. Because of the added work involved, I have a choice to make. I can either raise the price for service to an 18 to 20-year-old because of the added headache, or I can raise prices for everyone, because if I were to just raise prices on the 18 to 20-year-olds, it could be argued that I am discriminating on them based on age, which is precisely what the government is doing in this instance. So I think what we need to do is bring the FPC in and figure out what it is that we can do to generate an environment that the 18 to 20-year-old can bring a suit against the government without adversely impacting the mom and pop shops. Because here's the thing, a lot of small gun shops just simply don't have the budget to afford any kind of major lawsuit like that. And they're just going to stay away from it. They're going to do everything in their power to stay away from anything that even seems somewhat activist. But also, you have to realize that they've targeted the segment of the population that is least likely to have the financial means to bring a suit. So there's some finagling that has to go on there, and that's probably going to require some kind of industry-wide stratagem. So that said, there's one thing that I wanted to leave you with, and that is a section that I skipped over because I don't think it's really that pertinent, and that is there's a small change to the very first section dealing with privately manufactured firearms that actually has larger ramifications for the business side of things. Plain and simple, you show up here trying to transfer a privately manufactured firearm. As a business located in the United States, I still have the right to refuse business to anyone, as long as it's not discriminatory. This is something based on the product category and has nothing to do with the person. So yeah, no sale. I'm just simply not going to be able to do the things that they want to compel businesses to be able to do with those privately manufactured firearms for an amount of money that is reasonable for your average person. So I'm just going to say we don't do that here. Personally and professionally, I think that everybody should do it that way, but you know, you do you your way. If you enjoyed today's video or didn't enjoy today's video, I suppose it would be more likely, then there are several ways that you can help support the VSO Gun Channel. Chief among those is our affiliates page, which you can find linked in the description box down below. And over there, you can find discount codes on products that I use on a regular basis, and clearly, so does my family. This is a brand spanking new M5 that I got last week from PowerTac, and you'll notice that this box is empty. My brother was here over the holidays, and I believe that my stuff has been pilferated.